1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just so many hours you spent on the phone, I wasted here loving you. Now you gon' tell me that you're on your own, you're leaving me sad and blue. Just so many days you've been on my mind, you been stop trouble on down the line. Fool if I go, fool if I stay, tell you what I'm gon' do. Tell you what I'm gon' do. Tell you what I'm gon' do. Let it roll, let it glide, let it fall.
Howdy. Mr. Producer.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Episode Herschel Walker. Episode Bo Jackson.
Oh,
Episode Walter Payton. Episode 34.
that's a good number.
Tres Cuatro. That's what I understand. Do you know how to say actually 34 in Spanish? I don't. I'm glad I even mentioned this.
Tres Cuatro.
Tres Cuatro.
Good enough.
Yeah. So right off the
For
bat, let's go over something. First of all, whoop, whoop, sponsor, just the sport of football. We're going to talk about football today. So ladies, don't turn off, not in the way that you think, about how absurd football has become.
This is some Jerry Springer stuff.
It's Jerry Springer stuff dealing with football. So not like X's and O's with football, which is really what I would like to discuss, but you guys aren't interested. Let me run through all the hot spots today. First of all, episode 34.
Yeah.
I've talked to the producer, Don Cornelius. Let me slow down. Let me collect my thoughts.
So excited.
Yeah. It's still on the 11th floor of the Trellis Carpenter building, so we've got another 9 months on this lease. We've been peaking at the 5th floor. The 5th floor is just open space, a little bit bigger than where we're at now, but we got 9 more months. We've got to sit it out here.
Not so far to travel.
And the 5th floor would be a little bit better, and I think the air works a little bit better on the 5th floor. But we're in the Timmy Tooper studios today, and so just glad that you all are with us. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm kind of excited today. I'm kind of passionate about, but I want to talk about the Ware County school system. Because I've been a big advocate, a big supporter, and so I want everybody to listen right here. I got a problem.
Uh-oh.
I got a problem with the Ware County school system. Okay, and by the way, I've just been named. I don't know what I've been named. Apparently, the superintendent has a panel of parents that come and meet in a school, and I've been asked to do that. And I now know, you're supposed to go in those things without an agenda.
Yeah.
I've got an agenda.
Well, of course we do. You do. We do.
I'm truly upset about something. My kid has an experience has been stolen from him. Not him, actually her. Not COVID related, thank goodness. Ware County school system, you got to do better. And here's what I'm talking about. My daughter comes home the other day, and she gets a very sweet letter or note to her mom. I don't ever get the notes. I always go to the mom. The sweet notes go to the mom. Of
course.
Hey, could you come over here? We got some things to talk about. Seem to always come to me. Ware County school system, I want to talk about just for a second. Your Spanish, the Spanish teacher wrote the sweetest little letter to us. And so I was like, man, that's super nice that she would do that. And so when my daughter came home, I was like, Neely, we got an email today. Your Spanish teacher was very complimentary, and I may not be the best parent on the world, because then I did say I didn't realize you were taking Spanish, and she's like, yeah, Dad, I'm taking Spanish. I've been in there for 2 or 3 weeks now. And I was like, well, forgive me for not knowing that, but the email was very sweet.
Perdóname.
Here's what I'm getting at.
Perdóname.
Perdóname.
Yeah, that's close.
So Ware County, here's my daggum issue. I'm up here about this. So like any good parent, their Spanish program's horrible, because I said, Neely, what's your Spanish name? You know what her answer was? Neely. I was like, what?
No,
I was like, no. I said, the only thing I can remember about being in Spanish in high school is on the first day we all came up with our Spanish names.
What was your Spanish name?
Thank you for asking. Mateo. But I asked Senora del Castillo if I could also have a last name. And she said, Mateo, absolutely not. I've never given a last name, and you cannot have a last name. I hounded that lady to death. Do you remember the guy that was, he used to do the Corinthian leather commercials, but he was on Fantasy Island.
Yeah. Ricardo Montalban.
Montalban.
Yeah, Montalban.
say it with some
Montauban.
Montauban.
Yeah.
And so I said, Matthew is my middle name. So I wanted to be Mateo Montauban, like that.
Yeah.
And I drove that woman crazy until she finally gave me the last name. So I got a first name and a last name. The first person in the history of Spanish at Waycross High School to be given a first and last name. And when she would call out attendance, like my friend Jamie Packer was Jaime. Oh, Jaime Packer. She could Jaime, and Jaime would have to say, not here, but do you remember how to say here in Spanish? Aquí.
Aquí.
And so I asked Neely about this. She goes, we don't do any of that. I said, y'all did not select a Spanish name. So I said, and she asked me, she goes, well, Uncle Banks, that's my brother. She goes, did he have a Spanish name? Because there's nothing Spanish for like, Ronald and I says, well, you could pick your own. And so my brothers picked Nacho. So my brother was Nacho. And so we had a lot of people. So everybody got a Spanish name. And I thought she was kidding. I was like, well, surely you have a Spanish name. They don't do it.
Oh, man.
They don't do it. They're doing things like teaching how to read and write Spanish. I'm not interested in that.
Why?
That has no real value, intrinsic value in the education system today. But my daughter in her Spanish class is known as Neely. The most American little white girl name you could ever pick. And so I want her. So the sweet little lady that wrote this email, this has to be corrected. Every student should have a Spanish name, and you have to refer to the other students by that name.
Exactly.
Throughout class.
I thought that was the whole point of it.
I thought it was too. So you asked me, do I remember? What do you remember about Spanish class?
My name. My Spanish name.
Okay.
So I started out Enrique.
Enrique.
I just picked it.
Yeah, and you could just pick a name that you kind of liked. And
but then I transitioned. Senora Phipps transitioned me at Ware County to Donaldo.
That's
right.
Because
Donaldo Cornelius.
Donaldo Cornelius. Yes. So I'm so disappointed in our Spanish. And this lady seems. Oh, she wrote the sweetest little email, and now I'm dogging her out. And she's trying to do things like teach my daughter like how to speak Spanish and understand the customs and the culture. I'm not interested in that.
It's probably not her fault, though. It's probably coming up from on high. They probably said no more Spanish names.
And I get you on that, but she could usurp that. She's like, listen, regardless of curriculum, hey, we're all picking a Spanish name today, and we're going with it. So if you could, down in the comments below, I had Senora del Castillo. Now, I think her husband also taught at Ware County. She taught at Waycross, but you had it was Phipps, right?
Senora Phipps.
If you could, it's imperative that we have your Spanish name.
And Senor Allen. There was 2 Spanish teachers at Ware County.
That is right.
We pumped out those Spanish classes.
Yeah. But you had a Spanish name by George.
Yes.
And that's the only thing that you remember.
That's the only thing I remember.
Zapatos. I can remember that.
I don't even know
Shoes.
What that is. Oh, really?
Zapatos. Papas Fritas. French fries. I can remember that. And so anyhow, I learned absolutely. We watched E.T. in Spanish probably 50% of the time in my Spanish class.
Huh.
Senora del Castillo was in the more formidable years of her career. She was slowing down a little bit. And so we watched a lot of E.T. in
But she
Spanish.
still covered the basics, like letting you choose your name.
Yeah, and once you have that, is there anything that's really all that important about Spanish class? No. So I can't remember this sweet lady's name. Maybe Miss Bennett. Very sweet. But Miss Bennett, you got to pull this together. You got to right this wrong. And that's why, as a parent that's on an advisory committee, as far as worried about the fluency of my daughter, I could care less. I just need her to have a Spanish name.
Yeah.
And she could pick something, neat or something creative or something.
Why don't we have some comments down in the comments? Let's give Neely a Spanish name.
But I tell you what, our last name's going to be by George Montauban.
Montauban.
Yeah, because she's going to take her father's name. It's going to be whatever Montauban. So I don't remember a lot of the female names in Spanish, but I can remember all my buddies.
Marisol
Montauban.
Marisol Montauban.
Yeah. But my little Neely does love shoes, so she could be Zapatos.
She could be.
Zapatos Montauban. So anyhow, Ware County school system, get your act together. All right, let's pull through for us. Other things that's in the weird and wacky, because obviously we've covered the first and the most egregious of those, is, okay, I'm going to tell you a football story, but once again, it does not relate with X's and O's. This is just crazy. It deals more with society. And and I'm going to try to get through it with a straight face, but I'm going to tell you this from the beginning. Everything that I'm about to tell you is a true story.
We couldn't make this up.
You can't make this up because it's so crazy. And I've got some highlights here from the article. But as you all know, I mean, Ware County, we certainly have our priorities in football are probably a little skewed, and I'm probably as much to blame. I love me a little football as well. But nobody takes the cake like Valdosta High School. And let's start off right off the bat with they sold their souls to the devil because they hired Rush Probst to go be their coach. But if things get, just to give you a little background on Coach Probst, and you can go see this on the 30 for 30 special that ESPN did on him. I'm not talking about local news, but in high school, he was such a big story that ESPN did a sports story on him, in which they covered the fact that when he coached over in Alabama, he actually had two families, which I'm not going to say is like totally uncommon, but he would take a picture with both families after the football game, and you could see the same scoreboard, and they would be about 10 minutes apart. And that to me is a little bizarre. And here's the other thing is that's one of the least egregious things that he's done. Like the list of other things that he's done is much more egregious than that. So Valdosta High School, after Colquitt County picked him up as a coach, and then they later fired him. And I think he's in a lawsuit with them now. Of course, Valdosta hired him, and like the opportunist that he is, he looks out and says, in California, what they've decided to do, California's decided to cancel football for the fall, so I'm going to start recruiting kids, allegedly. I think I have to legally say that, right? I don't know that to be, so I'm just going to say allegedly because I don't want Rush Probst suing the Clay and Woodrow show.
No, too much money involved.
Yeah, our pockets are very, very deep here. And so he goes, and Southern Cal, USC, has a very highly rated quarterback named Jake Garcia, who is a high school quarterback out in California. Well, he allegedly gets in contact with Jake and Jake's family and college recruiters and just says, why don't Jake come be our quarterback over in Valdosta and just y'all move over to here so that he can play football?
Yeah.
Well, the guy's already got a commitment to Southern Cal, so he doesn't have to do this to impress anyone, but he just wants to do it because he wants to play high school football, which seems a bit bizarre. But wait, it gets better. In order for the Georgia High School Association has what's called a bona fide transfer, if you move over, everyone in your immediate household has to move to that location. So it just can't be like the dad and the son move and mom stays over in California. Well, in this case, Jake's parents, Randy and Yvonne, are saying, listen, we only have one kid. Randy, because he's retired, is going to come over with Jake, but Yvonne still has to continue to work. She's going to stay in California. And so what did the Georgia High School Association say? But you can't do that. That's not a bona fide transfer into the Valdosta High School. He can come to Valdosta, but he can't play sports. Right. So what do they decide to do?
I can't imagine.
They have now decided to legally separate.
Oh,
because then they cannot legally claim that they're under the. So a couple that's perfectly happily, and you can see this in the interview that we just watched on ESPN, they are legally separated, and after the season are going to reclaim their marriage and put their marriage back together. So they're going to separate so this kid can come play for Valdosta High School. Now, I'm a big proponent of when, especially you folks on Facebook that put ridiculous things that are totally untrue. You just see a meme and then you put it back out there again.
As the gospel.
Oh, yeah, you put it out there as the gospel. My favorite one is they got the different presidents putting the Medal of Freedom like around Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And I was like, you do realize that's Photoshop. And they're like, no, it's not Photoshop. I just got this from the computer.
What's Photoshop?
Yeah. I was like, listen, I don't like Harvey Weinstein anymore. There's Weinstein, whoever more than he's a horrible human being, and I think there's a special place in hell for him. But you do realize he did not receive the Medal of Freedom. So could you remove that from Facebook? I know you want the Democratic Party to look bad, but President Obama did not put that around his neck. That is a false picture. And they're just like, no, I found it on Clay. I hate to tell you this, Bubba, but I found it on the internet.
There's a picture.
There's a picture on the internet. So you can say, well, Clay, follow your own rules. This is so wacky. Can you take us to, not only can I take you to an article, Mark Slayball, who University of Georgia man himself who works for ESPN, is interviewing the couple as they're having to describe how brokenhearted they are to have to legally separate and temporarily end their marriage in order for their kid to play high school football. And this is my favorite quote throughout the whole thing, and please forgive me. They plan to get back together once Jake's season at Valdosta High ends. So it's good. The marriage is going to come as soon as the final snap of Valdosta occurs. They're going to renew their vows or whatever and put this marriage all back together. These things are just too. If you make something like that up, you're just like, well, Clay, that sounds way too far fetched. But here we have it, and this is Russ. And this is hey, listen. And this is what the city of Valdosta signed up for. This is what they wanted. And this is what they've got. And so, hey, if they're going to sell their soul to the devil, and I'm not saying that this family are bad people or anything like that. No. I'm going to tell you, Russ Propst is not a good human being. And that's a decision that they decided to make, then so be it. And hey, but you know what's important, Mr. Producer? They're going to win.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you see what our sponsor is right here? Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
It's football. It's the glue that keeps everything together.
It is.
It's not families. It's not church.
No.
It's not faith.
No.
That's crazy talk. It's football.
That's right.
So much so you're going to recruit a kid from California to come play for you for one. And by the way, I hope you realize this, but he took some kid's job. Some kid that had been trying to be quarterback at Valdosta High School, that was probably a pretty decent quarterback because he was going to be quarterback. He just took his job.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, then, Clay, that quarterback needs to be better. Well, I don't think he knew going into it that there was going to be recruitment over 50 states looking for transfers on the backs of a pandemic. I don't think that he knew his coach was that slimy of a person, to do that. So now that kid's over there holding a clipboard every Friday evening because his coach went out and recruited somebody and said, listen, when I think of pandemic, what I think of is let's be opportunistic and snatch some kids away from a California high school football program. And so that's what you get when you get Coach Probst. So
very interesting stuff.
It's crazy.
This would be this would be a good point for if the audience wanted to participate, they should jump up and say Woody.
That's right. You can tell I'm a little bit hot about this. Good night. Coach Montalbon, very disappointed in the city of Valdosta. I shouldn't say the city. That's unfair.
No.
The school system
Yeah.
of Valdosta is their moral compass is unable to find any high ground whatsoever. And this is just bizarre, to me. But it is what it is. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Doing all right?
A little hot. A little.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
Steamy.
On Saturday, maybe Friday or Saturday, it is not supposed to get above 75 degrees.
That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah, and I can't wait for that kind of stuff. And let me tell you something. The first time that somebody complains about cold weather in South Georgia, I'm going to remind them. I said, do you remember August?
Yeah.
What we were dealing with? I'm just so thankful that we will actually have.
Well, let's go ahead and start making a list of people, and we'll just call them out on the show. If you put anything on Facebook
about
or if you even say it, we'll just call you out on the show.
I want cold weather that makes my bones feel brittle.
Please.
I want that kind of cold weather.
Please.
Like tomorrow. I want to build a snowman. I want that kind of cold weather. And I would be perfectly happy with that. And then as far as other things of news of the weird or news, of the wacky, and I guess this would kind of go under there. It's semi political, but I think the debates are coming, and I think they've had some town halls, which I just want to say I've decided I can't do. I can't stomach either one of them when they speak. I can't do it.
It's painful.
Yeah. So I've decided to not. I can't bring myself to do it. But I might look for like some highlights or something like that. I was going back today and listening to the time when President Trump announced that we had killed. Man, I can't remember the guy's name now. Obama had the big release when we killed.
Was the guy in Iran?
Yeah, the
head.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mateo.
Yeah, Mateo Montalban. But yeah, I was just going by, and so they did a side-by-side comparison of how Trump handled his announcement of that man dying, and then how Obama did it when Osama bin Laden had been killed. And I did not realize I missed this beautiful little bit. You know, you can see when he's on that teleprompter, and then you can see when he rolls on his own. And I didn't realize that he said that he died like a dog. And then he said he died like a very, very beautiful dog. I was like, well, what is that? What does that mean? I got the part, although probably not appropriate to say that he died.
Offended Woody.
He died like a dog.
Woody was offended.
Then he died like a beautiful dog. And so that's when, so I so badly think there's like a room full of people that want to say, no, get back to the script. Get back to the.
There are. There have to be.
You were on point for just a second there. Now get back to what we were talking about.
A beautiful dog.
Yeah, you go, I can't wait to put that on Twitter. He died like a beautiful dog, a beautiful, beautiful dog. Have you watched the town hall meetings or any of that kind of stuff?
I've seen a couple, and it's painful.
It's painful.
It's painful. I mean, just brief seconds, clips, really.
Yeah.
Anything they show on TikTok, I see that. That makes it to my feed.
Is it fair to say if I walk into Des Moines, Iowa's largest Walmart today, and just shut the doors and lock the doors, that I could find a more qualified leader of the free world in Des Moines, Iowa today in a Walmart? There's a chance of that.
There's a good chance.
There's a very good chance of that.
I actually know somebody in Des Moines. Maybe he could.
Maybe he's
interested.
It might be up for the job.
Yeah, just tell him to meet us at Walmart.
Yeah. So, when I say that, people are like, well, what you say? Well, hold on. What you saying, man? You a big Joe Biden fan? Oh no, he's I can't tolerate him. He's horrible. He can't make a cohesive sentence. He can't make a thought anymore. I think he, and I don't wish this upon anybody. If this is going on with him, I'm very sorry, but I think he might have some mental deficiency due to age. That's going to happen to all of us. That's not me picking on him.
I've got mental deficiency.
There's no doubt about that, by the way. Yeah. So I'm not picking on him. That's going to happen to me as well.
I also hear he has a stuttering problem. Have you heard that?
Oh, he did growing up, and so he does spend a lot of time talking to kids about how he overcame his stuttering problem.
Yeah.
But now, is it fair to say? And man, why is Woody not googling this stuff for us?
He's still reeling over the beautiful dog comment.
Did Trump, and I'm one of these, and I do not like for people to be most misquoted at all. But did Trump directly call him a pedophile or just insinuate?
I don't know.
So we would have to.
We got to fact check it because
we got
that
would be something
responsible thing to do.
Yeah. So anyhow, I want to look into that, and that's the type of thing that if he did say is very inappropriate for him to. I mean, if you say that about another human being, you better have some
hard evidence.
Yeah, and as soon as you say it, the next thing you better be doing is presenting that evidence.
Yeah.
And by the way, if he is that, and I want to be careful once again, I need to look for the article, and says. Oh wait, Snopes has got something on it. Let's see. I want to be more. I want to be more careful. But anytime you make a charge like that, I want to make sure that people say, "Hey, if that is the case, that means children were being in danger, and he should have mentioned something about it years ago, or as soon as he found out, he should have taken that to authorities.
Sure,
not wait for election time, to do so. But once again."
Yeah, that needs to be handled by the authorities.
Sure, but I think he did have a hashtag that said, pedo Biden, PEDO Biden.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that's something that's a serious, act. Now, what I understand they're saying is he does some very awkward things in pictures with girls of different ages, and to some degree with men and boys, where he puts his hands on their shoulders and it's like he's whispering in their ear. And that certainly is some stuff that is bizarre and it's strange, but he's also doing that in front of millions of people. And if he did it and it was pedophilia, then he would be arrested.
I would think so.
If you and I can see it, then chief of police and judges and other people can see it, and he would be arrested.
Right.
So if you're saying he does some bizarre things in picture opportunities, I don't know that has any relevance in the political theater, but if it does, knock yourself out. But using the words, if he uses those kind of words, those are criminal words. I think that's very, why are we talking about this?
It's weird. This has been the weirdest show ever.
I know, but why are we even talking? But more importantly,
Valdosta. Let's blame it on Valdosta.
Valdosta. But more importantly, could we get our kids some Spanish names,
please,
for the love? Let's get our kids.
Now I gotta go find out about mine and see if they're missing out on that.
Yeah, can you remember other people? Like I can remember my fellow classmates.
I do remember a Jaime. There were several Jaimes.
Jamie Packer, that was old Jaime. And in that class, by George, the words Jamie never came from my left these lips.
Ricardo.
Lots of
there
Richard,
was a Ricardo.
Ricardo. So we had a Ricardo in the class. We definitely had a Nacho and a Taco, which I don't think Taco is really even a name, but we didn't know any better. So we had a Nacho, we had a Taco in there as well. We had a ton of Juans. Oh,
John.
But now our rule was you can only have one Juan. So the first guy that grabbed, we couldn't have multiple. You couldn't, share names. And so I was safe with Mateo Montalban. But I will tell you, I'm disappointed. The Ware County School, hey, you know what I said earlier about the city? I said this is a weakness they have, but it's something that's easy. This can be corrected.
Oh, yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah.
I'm saying by next Friday.
Sure.
Not to put a timetable on people, but I think it should be handled by next
It's reasonable.
week. And as a parent advocate or whatever my title is, a student, I don't know what I am, but advisory member or whatever, once this issue is resolved, I'm resigning off the committee. I'm just like, my work here is done.
Really?
Yeah. My brother was Nacho. That's embarrassing. My brother continues to embarrass the family with the issue. Can we hear Woody?
Yeah.
He's
embarrassed.
Let's see if we can get the micro. Can y'all hear Woody? He's barking in his sleep. Oh man, this is riveting today.
It is.
Yeah. So, anything from you, Mr. Producer, before we go?
Nothing.
I'm just drawing a blank.
I'm discombobulated by all the weird stuff we've covered.
I got you. Well, it's been good to talk with the people, to be with the people, and at the end of the day, not our best show. I'm gonna tell you that, not our best show. But if we get this resolved, and Ware County students start having Spanish names while in the Spanish classroom, this day will be a success.
Yeah, we're making a difference. At the end of the day, we're making a difference.
We're difference makers.